That is engine performance 2 test 4. What is global generic OBD2? The same for all models and vehicles. Format generally designated for engineers. Standardized format that meets SAE and J1962. All of the above.
Yeah.
Mode 6 can be used to verify the repair by checking the component
$6.
system test passed.
No, that says $6. That says $6.
Yeah, that's actually part of your computer code stuff. The component system test passed. Now, you know what Mode 6 is? Mode 6 basically gives you the parameters. Well, let me, if you were going to type the program that was going to check all this all these systems, you would basically say, if this value drifts out of this range to the top or the bottom side or the top side, I'm going to flag a code, right? Okay, so what Mode 6 does is it gives you a list of all of that stuff and how everything's been performing. And if something's close to the edge, it'll let you know. It'll light it up, see? Now, some of your high-end scan tools have got that. If you buy a cheap $110 scan tool at the parts house, you're not going to get Mode 6 data out of it yet.
So I was sitting around your desk.
Is that, okay, just a second here. Hold on a minute. What is that right there? Oh, that's supply. That's on supply. Yeah. That is. And this, just a second. My curly.
On your desk.
Yeah, do these, please. Thank you. All right. Here we go. Mode 6 is the mode that checks which of these systems, non-continuously monitored systems. Now, what does that mean? Continuously monitored systems is as long as that vehicle's running, it never stops checking it. You see what I'm saying? All right, Matt, make sure you read the chapter. All right.
What would be an example of a non-continuously monitored?
A non-continuously monitored system, and like I say, you're going to see that in your chapter, but it's something that it cannot, well, like for instance, it doesn't know if your catalytic converter's working right or not until it has satisfied a requirement. See what I'm saying? Like it can't instantly tell if your catalytic converter. Continuous monitor is my throttle position sensor reading between this range and this range? It can go up and down between that range and it's fine as long as it's telling the truth. Now there's such things as in-range failure where it's not, it's lying. Wes can't keep his hands off that cell phone, can he? All right. All right. Now right here, if we're drifting around in here when we're not supposed to be, like if I'm not moving my foot but that's moving, we're going to have issues. But that if it goes out of range, that's all the time watching it. It never stops watching it. Engine coolant temperature sensor. All of your sensors that are supposed to be reading within a particular range. But the catalytic converter has got to get to a certain temperature, and it's got to stay there for a certain amount of time before any test can be done that's reliable. Evaporative system monitor is a non-continuous monitor. It's not always looking at your evaporative system. It only looks at it when conditions are right. Some of your evaporative system tests are done on some vehicles when you park and you leave the vehicle sitting there all night. Your oxygen sensor heaters, if you park a Chrysler product out there, or the ones that were like, and they probably are still doing this, and it wants to check the heaters on your oxygen sensors while you're in there snoozing or watching a football game or something, the Jeep will sit here and it will say, he's been gone for a while and it doesn't look like anything's happening and we're all at an even temperature. I think I'll bust off my oxygen sensor heaters and see if they're working. And it'll fire those suckers up. Heat those oxygen sensors up, make sure they're okay, and then it shuts them down. And if you've got a natural vacuum leak detecting type evaporative system like some of the vehicles we've got, some of the Chrysler stuff, it'll actually check that after you park your vehicle, and a lot of those automakers are using that now, and everything cools off, they know the pressure in the gas tank should change, right? Okay, so if the pressure in the gas tank changes, they got a little switch that closes or opens whenever that pressure changes. If that doesn't change, then they know you got an evaporative leak. And you park your car, you get out, you go in the house, you come back out, the next day you got to check engine light as soon as you start it up. You didn't have it when you parked it, now you got it. That's a crummy deal, isn't it? Okay, that's what you're talking about. See what I'm saying? That's the difference when a continuous monitor is something that it can watch reliably all the time. You see, the other monitors, conditions have to be met. Hexadecimal number for 12 is what? Now, see, I can tell none of you read the chapter. It's B. That's actually $C. That is the hexadecimal number for 12. These are, you see the $sign you're talking about? That's hexadecimal stuff, okay? You got it? Technician A says, by looking at the Mode 6 data, right, The technician can determine how close a computer system came to passing the onboard test. That is exactly right. Right? Or is it? Let's see what the book says. Technician B says the data shown may have to be converted to obtain values that are meaningful to the technician. Now that guy is definitely right. Now the author doesn't like this, but I kind of like the first answer because it's going to give you, whenever you're looking, if you know what those it's going to be confusing because over here on the left you'll see hexadecimal. I think some of your Snap-on tools actually convert that for you. You know what I'm saying? Which is pretty slick. But and I got to use that guy's phone number because I got it on my desk in there. Remember me before you leave to get that phone number for me because he wants you to call him. All right. And but anyway, this but it'll actually tell you the maximum range is here, the minimum range is here, and this is where we are. See what I'm saying? I mean, it's really cool. And it just gives you a whole table of that stuff. And if you can look, well, this is running a little out to the side and all that. So, but if you want to get that one right, according to the answer key, is a B. And I like what that first one said, but I guess the wording he was trying to trick you. The data display usually shows what information? The data display was both B and C, upper limit or lower limit, and test results. All right, and that's kind of what we're talking about. Oxygen sensor switch time from rich to lean is identified as test identification. That's A, $05. Which one that is?
$5.
Yeah. The type A misfire codes are those that can damage the catalytic converter and usually have misfires that range from blank at idle to blank at high engine speeds. That's 40% to 4%. 40% at idle to 4% at high engine speeds. See, it's counting those. It's got 200 counter cycle and a 1,000 count cycle. And that's one of the way it classifies misfires. General Motors vehicles being checked using mode 6 for the proper identification of the proper operation of the oxygen sensor. The rich to lean sensor switch time is, what is that? 0.030 seconds. That is really not very much, right? A technician A says that this indicates, that's 30 milliseconds. Technician A says this indicates a slow reacting or oxygen sensor. Technician B says the oxygen sensor is reacting normally and is okay. He's right. If it's going that fast, you're in Fat City. That's great.
Technician B, right?
Yeah, technician B is right, yeah.
How many is B?
Yeah. B is the right, okay. Mode 6 information can be accessed at all of the above. See that? You need to know that? Motorcraftservice.com, GMservice.com. You better put those websites down, guys.
They're on there. You don't see them?
All right. I know, but you're going to have to turn that test in. All right. All of the above. Yeah, all of the other. You can get it at nastf.org. You can get them at gm.com. You can get them at Motorcraft.
Well, I can remember gm.com. What is that?
GM
D.
General Motors products and Motorcrafts are
Ford, that's right. And National Automotive Service Task Force is what that other one is. And I know the guy that's in charge of that website and pretty well keeps it updated is a friend of mine. But the hexadecimal number for 6 is what?
B.
6. Nope, it's not. Actually, it's $6. It's dog.
Oh, well,
yeah, because obviously it's not hexadecimal there. If you all right, you're gonna mode 8 is the mode that checks which of these systems. That's bidirectional control of onboard systems. So if I'm going to see, we don't have mode 8 on our little Nemesis scan tools, but we do have mode 8 on our Genesis scan tool.
Big one?
Big one's got mode 8, and also that Ease Diagnostics, the way I got it set up now, has got that.
Yeah.
An oxygen sensor, maximum sensor voltage for test cycle is identified as test identification what?
$5.
That's dog. $08, right? You got that? See, you're going to see these on the left side over there, basically, and it's a good idea to pull that stuff up. An oxygen sensor switch time. You're going to see this in your book too, guys. This is really good stuff. Don't neglect your book. If you neglect your book, you do it at your own peril. You're either here to learn this or you're not. Okay. And don't come up with deer in the headlight stuff if I pop test you on this one day. Okay?
Oh, you got to slow down.
It's going to be a pop test on mode 6. Would you like that? That'd be good, man. On your different modes?
It's $6 to do that.
Yeah.
All right, this next one I'm going with dog 6.
Hey, when I was working at the Ford place, I used to memorize wiring schematics, so I wouldn't have to go to the shop manual so much. Okay, so you guys, if I can do that, you guys can do this, right? All right, now, let me see. Which of these global OBD2 modes is used to clear and reset diagnostic trouble codes, freeze frame data, and readiness status monitors for non-continuous monitors only?
What question is that?
That's 15.
You skip 14.
Which of them is used to clear and reset trouble codes, freeze frame data, and readiness status monitors for non-continuous
Mode one.
monitors? That's mode 4.
Okay.
Mode 4, okay? The type B, you're going to see these modes referenced in your scan tool. It'll say mode this, mode that, mode that. Don't be confused by when you go into your OBD2 generic. You'll see that it'll say mode whatever, this, that, and the other.
You
So
skip
just-
14.
yeah, now you know that. See, y'all are being a part of an elite group because at the end of this semester you'll know all your modes by heart, right?
Alright, you skip 14.
Yeah. All right. Technician B. Excuse me. When I see the letter T, I'm always thinking they're going to say technician because, like the ASC people, they love these technician A and B questions. Type B misfire codes are set, and Wes, you still owe me $12, by the way. Type B misfire codes are set if the misfire exceeds. Huh? Did you give me $12? Yeah. You gave me $10. And that's what they would do. You're right. Never mind. I should have given you a receipt. Okay. Type B misfire codes are set if the misfire exceeds what?
2 4.
2 to 4. 2 to 4%.
Alright, now go to 14 now.
Oxygen sensor switch time from lean to rich is identified as tested identification, and that's 06. That's C06.
Yeah, $6.
Didn't we already ask a question similar to that right up the line? And you guys didn't remember it? Somebody fell on their face there. All right, now then. Technician A says, by looking at the mode 6 data, technician can check the monitor status before starting repairs. He's right. Technician B says you can look at the component. Now, ask Michael how often he uses mode 6 data. I know he knows what it is. I mean, because he's a tech head like me. Technician B says you can look at a component or parameter to trigger default. You can do that too, right? So that's both of them C. An estimated blank of the PCM's diagnostic trouble codes can be diagnosed using the global OBD2 function of the tool. 80%.
Yeah, baby.
Technician A says non-continuous monitors include catalyst efficiency, EGR. See, because EGR is not operating all the time. That's another one, Mr. Stokes, right? And evap, oxygen sensor monitors, anything that's not working all the time. Oxygen sensor heater, secondary air injection. You know what that's about? We'll talk about that in emission controls tomorrow, okay? I don't know if it'll be tomorrow, but we're going to talk about it in emission controls. And thermostats. What's a thermostat got to do with anything?
Whether you're in open or closed loop, one thing.
Well, it's actually if the engine's running warm enough. A PO125 means it's running too cold. A PO128 means it's running colder than it should, but it's, they can tell a thermostat's working, but it's just still running too cool. PO125 means it's just running cold as a post all the time. See, it can throw you a code. It's looking at thermostat monitor. Technician B says mode 4 is used by service technicians to monitor the PCM test results of various systems. Technician A is the right one on that.
I got a question. If you got a hollowed out thermostat, does that cause a problem with your vehicle?
Yeah, well, it will. I don't like running them cold because it wears the engine out real fast. And because there's basically, when water gets with the sulfur, whatever sulfur happens to be in the oil and a little bit, it tends to make sulfuric acid and it dissolves the engine away. Your PCV system keeps that out of there pretty much if you're running good and hot. But if you run one too cold, you're going to wipe it out pretty quick.
I know my truck has got a hollowed out thermostat, but it runs at 230 all the time.
Yeah. Well, you probably don't have enough coolant in that. What I'm saying is your radiator is probably not dumping enough heat for that big engine you got in there. That's a 455? Or what is that? A big old mobile. You got an S10 with a 455 in it. That runs pretty smooth, I guess. Huh? All right. Technician A says some scan tools translate the raw hexadecimal data into English. Incidentally, you couldn't stuff that in one of those new S10s because the little rounded off thing you can't get none of. Technician A says some scan tools translate the raw hexadecimal data into English using software and a PC. Yeah. Technician B says this system makes the data easy to read. Technician A on that one. Don't be no second-rate amateur. All right. Now, let me ask you this, guys. Do you guys know something right now that you didn't know when you came in here?
Yep.
That's the idea. We know all